Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode.
Happy New Year to you.
Well, not yet.
What?
It's the 26th.
All right, here we go. Ready? It's the 26th?
Yes, this is going on.
This is going on the 26th. Oh, I thought we were into the new year.
No, babe. This is a way for them to think about it over the New Year weekend.
Got it.
So they're prepared
As
for
your weekend
the new year.
approaches. All right, now I'm in the game. Ready?
Past the fire, past the sounds. Moonshine through the clouds, saddle up, 'cause there's no stopping me now.
Three's a
Hey,
charm.
everybody.
Hey, welcome back.
To another episode of Living Well Together.
Oh,
Big life in a
huge
small
life
town.
in a tiny town.
Yes.
Tiny town USA.
So it's you and I again. This is a tricky time for our guests because of the holiday season.
No, it's really not that tricky.
You don't
know?
think?
Well,
I think everybody is so much more busy.
Oh, they're overcommitted
Yeah.
for sure. They're
Yeah.
stressed out for sure.
Right.
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
But no, it's like a
like
get
this.
out of jail free card for every guest. We didn't schedule anybody this week because
Right.
we didn't know what we were doing this week.
Exactly. Yes.
We could blame
but
it on
this is
them.
fun. I kind of like this back to back with just you and I for now. Hopefully our viewers like it too.
I don't know that anybody cares but us. Frankly, I'm not sure anybody cares, but what and even
We have to do what's fun for us. We're going to talk about some of those things coming up into the new year.
Well, as the year winds down, Christmas is already over, so you've already made it through now two. You made it through Thanksgiving and you made it through Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
The two of the three Triple Crown series
event.
holiday craziness, but you got one more left.
Yep. Yeah.
And New Year's Eve. And they put it in the middle of the week, which I think is dumb. New Year's
Yeah.
Eve is on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then New Year's Day is on Wednesday. I think every holiday should have to be on Friday
Mm-hmm.
or Monday.
I know you have your own way of doing things. Maybe you can talk to President Trump about that.
Whatever.
Holidays
huge.
Terry's way.
Yeah. I want to be the, what do they call that? I would be the secretary now.
Let's make something up. You could have your new title for 2025. It could be your word of the
I
year.
would be the appointee, have to go through Congress. All of it. Yeah. The director in charge of holiday stupidity. Whatever.
It's not stupidity. And actually, it is interesting, though, because even though it is in the middle of the week and we think of Friday as being the end of the week, it's still the end of the year. It's the end of 2024.
Right.
There's always so much nostalgia attached to that. For me, I don't know if it's for you too. I think we both kind of go through that, just counting our blessings and
Yeah, the year
really,
end, we always have, we set aside a little wind down time and just think about here's where the year took us and here's what we might do differently in the coming year. Here's the things that we can say we achieved
right.
with our businesses or with our health and wellness or with our family or
Right.
with, professional things. But yeah, it's a nice time to sit back and reflect a little bit and say
and
what's
plan
coming.
too.
What's
right.
coming.
Exactly. Yeah, we have special places that we like to do that. Glen Laurel down in Hocking Hills for us is a really special place to do that. So a lot of times we'll bring our planning journals and books to read and just kind of get our mindset ready.
Tuck away in the wilderness.
We like to do that the weekend of your birthday. Historically.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't like to talk about his birthday.
I've canceled it this year.
Well, you see, you're in charge of that. You
Yes,
can be in charge of that holiday.
Yes, the secretary in charge of that.
Yeah.
No, but historically, and I think times are changing a little bit. Historically, at the end of the year, even in the practice, we would do a program in January focused on New Year, New You. So you let everybody eat all the trash and drink all the booze and stay up way too late and hang out with people they don't like. And then in the new year, it's like, all right, here we go. What are we
Right.
going to do? And we would usually work on setting goals, not resolutions.
Well, historically, they were goals, right?
Yeah, just an idea that says, all right.
And resolution.
if I
I mean,
wanted to-
that used to be the way that
Old
was the
school.
mindset.
Yeah. But
Resolution.
nobody sticks to it. Like,
Well, what happens? I mean, you are a gym rat. He's not really
That's
a
not
gym
true.
rat, but he
Yeah,
does
no,
go to the gym.
no.
But
I like to exercise.
I mean, you've told me before. It's like that first month, there are so many
over here
people there.
at the Planetary Fitness place, yeah. Oh my, it's packed out. Everybody's got on their Christmas sweats and their new gear, and it's crowded.
Right.
For like 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
Month and a half, 2 months maybe. The crowd thins out. Not They don't get thinner. It's just that there's less of them
Yeah.
hanging around, right? It's not the crowd doesn't get thinner. It just leans out.
Well, maybe they are getting thinner too, because a
possible.
lot of times that's a big part of the resolution is that they want to get
Weight
fitter and
management,
healthier and weight
is
management,
a
detoxification.
popular New Year's commitment.
Well, you guys usually do a 21-day purification talk
Yeah.
in January to get everybody
And I know
off
we
to the
have that on
right.
the calendar. I don't know the date, but I know we do that. So we do a 21-day purification where you focus on eating real food instead of processed trash, and you drink more water, and you no booze, no coffee, no wheat, no processed stuff for 21 days. And then you do some supplemental things to clean out your liver.
Right.
Your liver is basically like your furnace filter, and it clogs up over the course of time.
2024 garbage. We need to get rid of it.
And so you do a 2-stage liver cleanse. And every year probably the average is 15 to 20 pounds people drop.
Yeah, especially, you should, men tend to lose between 15 and 20.
Yeah.
Women tend to lose between 7 and 15.
Clothes fit better, people sleep better, energy levels better, joint pain goes way down.
Yeah, less inflammation.
Yeah, hormone balance.
Yeah.
All kinds of things. So it's a fun reset for the day, for the new year.
Absolutely.
But focusing on
what I've always been amazed with the 21 day is when I was in the office and I was working with clients, we would have them do pre and post blood work.
yes.
And so to actually see those levels drop.
Cholesterol drops,
A1C,
and sugar drops,
Yep. Yeah.
blood
That's
pressure
really
drops.
amazing. Yeah.
When you just normalize basic body function and you normalize nutrient intake,
Right.
the body just says, hey, thanks. I don't have to be fat and sluggish and slow and lethargic and painful.
And we've done in other episodes about the prevalence of fatty liver disease. So helping the liver just get cleared out is just, it's going to benefit so many different body functions, metabolic.
So that's a January thing we always do. And we'll do it again this year, I'm sure. And so...
So we just wanted to share some tips going into the new year about new ways that we're going to be thinking about 2025.
Okay.
And how we can view the new year as a reset window, not a reinvention of ourselves. Like we don't have to reinvent. It's a lot of pressure on us to try to think about all these new, fresh ways that we're going to live our lives.
Well, I think there's no such thing as new year, new you. It's not a new year, new you.
No,
it's a
you're
new
the
year,
same
same
old
you.
you.
The same year, older you.
Older you.
Unless you change something, right? If you change lifestyle habits, then it can be a very different new year. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll get what you've always gotten. There's no magic to that. So it's not a new you, it's an older version of you. And the question is, what are you doing to support the time going by and live as well as you can from the inside out?
So one of the ways that I reset within our household is I get the laundry done and I declutter the physical space. And that always helps me to feel like there's been a reset. On Mondays, that's one of the things that I like to do. We have a nice full weekend, and then Mondays, get the laundry done, get everything, picked up, put away where it belongs. And I guess that's one of the ways that I'm thinking about this for 2025 is just removing that physical, emotional, and spiritual clutter that builds up over the year.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
And then just kind of choosing one area, whether it's a physical space like a closet, or really working on decluttering old mental habits.
I was going to say, my mind is the place I have to start decluttering.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that helps reset your mind is to grab a hold of something physical that you can change. For me, it's not the house, it's my desk. Like if I can't see this glass surface on that desk because it's full of other things, then that is usually a reflection of what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
If my head's full of clutter, my desk is cluttered. When my head's clear and my body's moving well and I'm thinking clearly, my desk is also easy to identify as a desk, not a holder of all things junk.
Yeah.
And I know where everything is. The piles are neat and organized and all that, but I should be able to see the desktop.
Yeah. And for me, decluttering for me is going through my email inbox.
I never do
And
that.
now I was wondering, I wonder if 2025 is going to be the year of zero email inbox for you.
I doubt it. If I wanted to make a big change in my life, though, that would be huge.
New year, new you.
Yeah,
You want to go that way? We're not going to reset. We're going to reinvent.
If I'm not in the mood to do anything big, I'm leaving that right where it's at. There's probably 175,000 emails in there.
It's true. We could probably take a screenshot.
Quite literally. Yeah.
So you and I are both, we both, I don't know if you love journaling. I love journaling. It's something that we tend to do on a daily basis as much as possible. But one of the ways that you can emotionally reset is by starting out those passages for a while as what thoughts or patterns am I ready to let go of? And really helping that space in your brain to kind of figure it out. When you're writing, you're figuring things out.
Okay.
I think of it as the Holy Spirit just flowing through the pen on that paper and helping me find the answers that I'm looking for.
Good.
Yeah. How about you?
I journal probably 5 out of 7 days. I don't journal every day. I will frequently skip a weekend day or two.
Yeah.
I always journal Monday through Friday. And you're right, it is helpful to get things out. I was actually, I had an anniversary yesterday.
Yeah.
We lost somebody
one.
a year ago yesterday. And I thought about getting out my journals and rereading from last year about what I thought, because it took me months to process that death. And so today it was one of those things where, as I was writing about reflecting on that, I could feel myself I was already decluttered about it.
Good.
And
So the writing
not that it
helped you
was an
process.
easy process, but
Yeah.
the writing it down, like I said, I should probably go back and read what I wrote, because it took up pages and pages and pages, because I didn't understand it.
Right.
But I also then today kind of put a dot on it, like, okay, this is one of those things that I've learned that I don't have to understand, and probably never will. And so it was nice to just put the period on that sentence and paragraph and move on.
Do you still feel like you need to go back and reread? Because a lot of the ways that I think about journaling is just this cathartic thing where it's just like, I don't need to go back and
That's
look
just it.
at it.
I don't feel like I needed to. In fact, I feel like probably I should burn those journals and just say, you know what? I've processed that
thoughts,
already. And if I left the planet tomorrow, would I want everybody knowing what I wrote? That's a thing for me. Like, oh my gosh, if somebody finds this, they're going to think I'm a psychopath.
What was going on with Dad?
Yeah, no wonder.
Okay, number 2, focus on rhythms, not resolutions.
What's that mean?
So,
Clear that up for me.
Well, for me, I've always thought of balance as being almost impossible. That balance is so black and white, but rhythm is like music. And sometimes it gets stronger and sometimes it gets softer and sometimes it just flows, right?
Okay.
And so a resolution is very much like a balance, right? It's black and white. When you make a resolution, it's like, this is the thing. And that's not going to always, it's just too rigid. It's like you write it down and it's like, if you don't do it, then you're a failure is what it ends up coming down to. And then you're just disappointed in yourself and frustrated. And it's like, what's wrong with me?
People will say, and I'll ask people, hey, are you a New Year's resolution maker? And they'll be like, no.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how do you expect to disappoint yourself if you don't make promises you have no intention of keeping?
Right. Yeah. So rhythms create a sustainable flow-based habit that aligns with your lifestyle. That's how I see it.
Okay. And again, that's exercise physically, that's exercise mentally, that's reading or journaling. For me, a lot of that rhythm needs to be more about what I don't do instead of what I'm doing. Like if I'm off track, I know I'm either scrolling social media too much, I may be watching too much golf on television or whatever. So the question is, how are you we all have 24 hours in the day. The question is, do you have a rhythm to the way that you use them? Your Monday through Friday life might be different because of your work or your schooling. And then, so how do I use the rhythm of the weekend or my off times to recharge and reset and focus on what's coming in the future?
Yeah, I was thinking of like picking just one daily rhythm, whether it's walking in the evening, like around sunset. We have some.
So by rhythm, you mean habit?
Kind of almost like a habit, but just something that's going to help to build momentum to a healthier lifestyle. And then just it also, you could sync those personal rhythms up with nature, like whether it's going for a hike or just embracing an earlier bedtime.
So what if I told myself I'm going to be in the rhythm of 6 days a week I walk, and then I miss a day or two, or
a rhythm it's not hard and fast rule. It's like, let's just find the rhythm, because you can always pick that rhythm back up again.
Yeah.
And
I think largely too, people are really good at beating themselves up if they miss the rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good at saying, well, gosh, I told myself I wasn't going to eat cake, and here I am eating cake, or I had cake yesterday, so now I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to celebrate the small victories with those things.
Absolutely. And that's number 3, celebrating those micro victories. So
Tiny things that start stacking up. It's a small habit. And it might be, one of the things that changed my life a while back was going to bed at half an hour sooner, which I then turned into an hour sooner. I'm not kidding. Half an hour. You go to bed a half an hour before you usually do.
Yeah.
And it is a game changer for your sleep pattern. It's a game changer for your energy in the day. So
Yeah.
my bedtime used to be 10. I used to say, all right, if I'm in bed by 10. Well, then I decided I'm going to start getting up at 5 if I'm going to do my journaling. And if I go to bed at 10 and I get up at 5, I'm only getting 7 hours. And so I thought, all right, if I'm going to get up at 5, because that was my commitment. So I backed my bedtime up to 9. And it's easy now that the weather's dark at 9, but in the summertime, 9 o'clock bedtime, it's still daylight in some places sometimes. But my commitment is I want the 8 hours, and that means if I'm getting up at 5, I push it back to 9 or 9:30 if I'm flexing a little bit.
Well, there's so many studies that just talk about how important those 8 hours of sleep are. And my understanding is that any sleep that you get prior to 11 p.m. is like 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So it's like you're getting 4 extra hours or 2 extra hours of sleep.
It's a quality, not a quantity thing, right? But yes, sleep before midnight is better than sleep beyond midnight, according to the science people. I don't know who determined that. I like sleep all the time.
I might have heard that on Andrew Huberman's, because he's a sleep guy.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most underrated things for health and well-being. We're told we got to burn it, and we got to do the midnight oil, we got to be all things to all people and get this stuff. You got to rise and grind. And I think
according to your TikTok friend.
that guy, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So celebrating it and rewarding yourself. You know what? I did it right 5 days in a row. Did I miss a day? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I'm still creating habits that are worth rewarding and beneficial if I stay consistent.
Yeah. And there's different tools that you can use, like a what went well list at the end of the week, and then celebrate those tiny wins. And it's just it's a way of reframing our progress.
Should we write that down? Should we make notes about that? Because you and I will usually sit down at the end of a day or the end of a week and say, how'd the week go, or what went well, or you'll say, how was your day? Half the time I need to really sit down and think about it, because I just get through it some days instead of getting from it.
Right.
So what I get from the day is way better than how did I get through the day.
Well, I was thinking that at the end of every week, that jotting that down is good, or maybe as part of journaling the next morning.
I could get better at that. For sure, I
about
could get better at that.
what happened the day before, and just kind of a really brief recap, just so that because once we write it down, we are going to remember it, and it is going to bring that positive influence into our lives. Like you and I tend to be on the positive side of life most days anyways,
Right.
but I think that it's easy to get trapped into a negative mindset based on what's going on in the world. And there's just a lot going on in the world all the
world
time.
will always be a huge
Yeah.
distraction, whether it's drones in the sky or viruses that may or may not be life-threatening. One of the things that we have done this year, though, is we have both, maybe more, we've become much better students of our calendar. So if I have written things on my calendar, whether it's on my electronic calendar or on paper, it does give you a much better way to look back at the week, or
Yeah.
the day, or the month, or
Right.
the quarter. If it's written down, you can hold yourself a little more accountable, but you can also say, did I do it? And if not, why not? And do I need to move that forward on the calendar? And if I'm not doing it, is it something I need to take off of
Just
the
take it off
calendar?
completely.
Like, it's clearly not a priority. Why would I keep kicking myself or waking up in the middle of the night about it?
Thinking about it. Yeah, it's just might as well come off.
So
There's
jotting it
just no
down
sense.
and creating a calendar is smart, and then celebrating when you do it right. You get a gold star.
Right.
You get some kind of
Well,
reward.
Yeah, the things, and it doesn't have to be anything big. It'd be like just 5 minutes, something or other,
Sure.
Even if it's taking time out to like 30 minutes to read one of you. For me, it's a romance novel, 30 minutes, and I'm going to sit and have a cup of coffee and read my romance novel.
Okay.
And
Whatever.
well, that's a reward to
not.
me. That would be, what would be a reward to you?
Yeah, that would be punishment. Like, okay, buddy, if you don't get that done, you're going to have to read that romance novel. You better get after
I
it.
don't know. You haven't read my romance novels. You might like them.
Well, I like the fact that you like them. How about that?
So would you like go to the shooting range like you and Hawk did last weekend?
Maybe go to
or
the range, maybe spend some time on the bike,
golfing
maybe
with
hit
Graham?
balls at the garage with Graham and the boys. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm much better at free time than you are.
I know
mean,
you
to be
are,
fair,
yeah.
you're horrible at free time.
I
You are
am.
productive
You know what?
aholic.
We had your team, our Living Well team, to the house on Friday night for a murder mystery party, and
Right.
it was so much fun. And one of the guests asked me, "So, what do you like to do for fun?"
Okay.
This
Work.
was me. This was me. I did say work.
Yeah.
And it's because there's so much joy in it that I shouldn't even call it work. It's kind of like, that is my fun.
Yeah.
And it's not the day to day. It's the clients that share their stories with me that bring me so much, just so much joy.
Good.
Yeah. It makes me
But
teary-eyed.
to be honest, too, after that gathering in our home, because anytime you're having people at your house, you're going to get your house ready. And it's going to be spick and span. It's going to be the furniture's arranged, and this is happening. It was a murder mystery party, so we had orchestrated.
It was so much
There was a
fun.
company that came to the house with 4 actors. And it was quite a production, really.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was
we had
really
food
fun.
that we brought in, we should have her on the show, by the way.
Yeah, I
Bridget.
would love that.
She did a great job with catering and our food, but it was a production
Yeah.
for us, mostly you, to organize it and orchestrate
Oh,
it. But
it
then the
actually,
next
they
day-
made it so easy.
Right, they did,
Yeah,
but it was work. And the next day, all of it was off of our minds.
Yeah.
And we coasted.
we did.
We
It
stayed
was
in our
really,
sweats till noon and,
I don't-
hung out and chillaxed, slept in. It was beautiful because you didn't have to get up on the hustle.
right. Exactly. That's what I had mentioned to you. I didn't go flying out of bed with
Yeah.
this huge cortisol rush because my list was a mile long and I knew I needed to get a jump start on it. It
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, it was so much fun and I just had so many good endorphins just from the good time that we had. And
But
it was
our
just
next number 4 is
soaking that
about
up.
unlearning, because one of the
Yes.
things that your brain is programmed for is productivity.
completely.
And you are,
Yeah.
if you're not being productive, I don't know what your thoughts about that are, but you're horrible at not being productive. So
I know, you're
downtime
right,
and
yeah.
maybe reading your novel or being creative in some other way.
I should crochet. I should start a crochet project.
Or even just hitting the sauna 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, there are ways to decompress
usually
that
if
don't
I'm
involve productivity.
Usually if I'm in the sauna, I'm working unless I don't feel good.
Right.
So, but it is, and that's also healing too.
Yep.
So a year of unlearning, right? And
Well, you
releasing
gotta-
the patterns that are holding me back.
Just changing patterns
completely.
in the brain. Yep. What used to be this is not that anymore.
Because I have a whole bunch of self-imposed rules.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be that I couldn't go to bed until my to-do list was all scratched off.
Which is why I get way more sleep than you.
That's why he goes to bed at 9, and I
That's why
try to
it's
go to
like,
bed by
I'm in the see you
10:30,
later
so that
club
I'm
and-
before that 11 o'clock. And then
Right.
I feel like that's my deadline. I can't go to bed past 11 o'clock. But also limiting beliefs. I mean, we all have those limiting beliefs about whatever it is. You guys are changing some things in the practice, and so I know that's been on your mind. And ways that we can serve our community better, and being all that we can be, I think is so important. And just the habits that steal our joy. Oh my gosh, do you
Like
have
what?
habits that steal your joy?
Nope.
You don't have any habits that steal your joy.
No, I don't think so. Give me an example. What do you do that steals your joy?
I am a worrier.
Oh, well, cut that out.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you now that's bad for you.
Yeah. So
I'm no
things-
doctor, but I know that's bad for you.
So things that are outside of my control that I want to try to make better, or, instead of just leaving that to God and allowing him to take care of it, it's my controlling personality.
Okay, I take
I'm
it back.
afraid.
I might have a habit or two that I could probably stop that sabotage me, whether it's worrying about the state of the world or the politics of the nation or the World Economic Forum's, diabolical plot to make us all slaves, which is not, I can't change it. So
Right.
worrying about it doesn't really help. And it does change your productivity. It does change your
And
focus. It changes your
physiology.
mindset, changes your physiology, no doubt about
I mean,
it.
it definitely puts us in that we're very much fear focused, even though it doesn't feel that way. It feels like we're focusing on freedom, but it's really It's really fear.
Some of it is about preparedness and what do I do if, and here's a case scenario that might be, and here's a case scenario that might be, and largely you don't have control over the situation sometimes, but you do have control over where you let your mind go about it. And then there's this fine line between preparedness and lunacy versus slovenliness that,
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it really is about finding the balance in a mindset
Or a rhythm.
that lets you get good sleep, that lets you make good choices with your intake of whether it's social media or media of any kind, or food or booze or caffeine or whatever.
Right.
Balance is critical, and moderation is critical.
So 3 of the things that I had written down to unlearn are: I have to do it all. Rest is lazy. That's my problem. And change must be hard.
The change must be hard one, I think, is everybody.
You think?
I think everybody thinks that.
Thinks that change is hard.
And it's
change
never as hard as we think it's going to be.
As soon as
Our
we
mind
start.
is going to be like a gerbil on a wheel, and you just really get out of control. Like you said, we're changing some things in the practice that I thought people were going to be so resistant to. It's a different thing. I've never done it that way. We've always done it a certain way. And we're modifying some things. And our people are way more
And they're understanding that it's going to be a
amenable
benefit.
than I thought they might be. So what I was losing sleep over, everybody else was like, "Well, no big deal." And I'm like, "Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It just made me feel better.
Get ready for a new year."
So when you find those things that you're needing to unlearn, writing an affirming statement, like the opposite. So for me, because I feel like rest is lazy, like I'm being lazy if I'm just not being productive.
Sure.
Rest fuels me to do my best work, and when I can
Just
focus on
reframing it in your mind,
just
and
reframing
affirming
it.
the smartness of
Yes.
the change. Yeah, good idea.
Number 5, treat your time and energy like currency. So instead of budgeting only money, budget your energy and attention with intention. Start our day by identifying the 3 most valuable uses of your energy, and then audit your week at the end of the week until you get really good at knowing those things. And it doesn't have to be a conscious effort anymore. So where do you spend energy that doesn't give a return on your well-being? I mean,
Everybody has it.
Everybody
I
has
think
it.
if the
Yeah, we don't
average
even have to
American
talk about-
just unplugged their TV for 1 week.
that's on my,
Like I dare
this is my
ya,
list. Yeah.
1 week, no TV. 1 week, no computer scroll.
Yeah.
1 week, no newspapers, no magazines. To take a week and just let your mind hear things, let your eyes see things, and just feel the world with no media input. It's a different world. We went, Grace and Graham and Honey and I, after Thanksgiving, put the campers over in John Bryant.
Right. Yes.
And that weekend was also the weekend that there was an Ohio State game on. I don't know if you heard.
We don't need to talk about it.
Yeah,
It didn't go very well. Yeah.
Because there's the team up north. And I've never missed that game. I've never not watched that game. But we were over in the woods and did not watch that game. Like we saw the last 40 seconds or something after we got done with a hike.
Yeah.
I scrolled my screen on my phone to see what the score was. I was flabbergasted. And then I turned it off and forgot about it. But the woods and the smell and the walk and the dirt and the just being there, 1 week, no media, it will change your life.
Yeah,
You'll hear
it's
sounds in
amazing.
your house that you've never heard before.
It might be
You'll
scary.
hear sounds in your car, no radio.
Yeah.
No. You just, you'll
we've
hear stuff
cycled
and feel
this
stuff.
throughout our life
100%.
where we have done,
We would have an TV week with the kids once a month.
yeah.
And it usually takes 2 days to deprogram them, by the way. In 2 days, they're at each other's throats. They are bored. I'm bored. And
No, they weren't allowed to say that because I'm bored meant,
I want to do laundry.
Here's a chore,
Or I
yeah.
got to clean my room. Or here's this toothbrush. Go clean the grout. But by day 3, there's a completely different rhythm in the house. And we're cooking together or we're playing games together or we're finding
The
ways to
dynamics
spend quality
change.
time because there's no media intervention. I think the personal phone is the most criminal thing that has been introduced to the population in the last 50 years because it intervenes in quality time with other people. It changes relationships. You can go into any restaurant and watch 4 people scrolling on a phone around the same table.
I have a question for you though. Do you think it's the phone or earbuds?
It's both. The
Yeah.
earbuds are an extension of the phone.
Yeah.
The earbuds have to be hooked to something.
Do you feel like though the earbuds are even like when you walk into the gym, does everybody have earbuds on?
Oh, a lot of people do.
So there's much less interaction.
Which, I mean, they also underestimate the level of radiation they're dumping into their skull
Yeah.
with those earbuds. Those earbuds are
We'll assume that they
poisonous.
all have blockers on them.
Yeah, they don't. Right. So yeah, should anybody have radioactive earbuds? Probably not. But no, it's a way to say, and it sends a message. It really says this is more important than anything else in the
Right.
world.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and if I got my phone on this says that this what we're doing right now is pretty important, but not as important as if this sends a message. I think now the fact that we both have them face down is nice. If this is sitting face up, that means I'm available to you.
Yeah.
But I'm also available to somebody else, anybody else, the world. And so putting them up here is nice because we can use them as a timer or we can do what we want. But at the end of the day, the reality is this thing has become the largest interruption to personal relationships ever invented, in my opinion.
Yep. And so that's something to consider.
Flush that thing down the commode, your
make-
life will get better.
Make 2025 the year of deep roots. So strengthen what grounds you.
Yep.
Focusing on deepening your emotional, spiritual, and physical roots to withstand life storms. And so each person has got to consider that individually. Like, what are the things that root you to family, friends, community, your profession, whatever that looks like. So identifying those 5 non-negotiables that just ground us into our life, I think is
It's
something
going to require
valuable.
some quiet time.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have to stop what they're doing and take an hour or 2 hours
Maybe more.
and just say, all right.
Or just start the process.
If money were no object,
Mm-hmm.
if I had all the time in the world, where am I the happiest? Where do I feel the
Right.
most joyful? Where do I feel the most grounded?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the people that support me in that and make me help make me feel that way?
Yeah.
It's going to require disconnecting, though. It's really about reconnecting with the people that matter to us.
Disconnect to reconnect.
Yep.
Yeah.
The world needs a solid disconnect,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can come out of your room and say, okay, these are the things I've discovered are
Yeah.
important to me, and
It
it
will
means I'm going
require
to stop
prayer.
doing that. I have to. I can't. There's only 24 hours in a day,
Mm-hmm.
and if I want to shift gears, that means I got to give that up or put this on hold
Mm-hmm.
or modify how I do it so that I can say, let's have dinner together,
Yeah.
minimum of 5 nights a week. You know, if you got a meeting or I got a meeting or we got to do something else, that's cool. But 5 times a week, non-negotiable, we're going to sit across the table and share food with no media.
Right. We have, like when the girls were little, that was such a high priority for us to sit
Absolutely.
around, not in front of the TV. We sat around
Our TV, we
the
put
dinner,
the TV in the basement and
dinner
never
table.
brought it out, so that if
Yeah.
we're going to watch the TV, then it had,
Still
we had to
there
be
now.
intentional. That's true. It is
Different house,
right.
same, still
It's
in the basement.
We have one TV, and it's
Yeah.
always in the basement. And the TV is not the devil.
No.
just a tool.
It's actually
It
one
can
of
be
those.
a tool of the devil,
Yeah.
frankly, but it's only as effective as people allow it to be, for good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was kind of fun to unwind over the weekend, and I love to watch a cooking show. I really do, you
Yeah.
know, and we used to always have TV, but now we learned from Graham and Grace and the kids that streaming is so much better and commercials are really gross.
Wow. That's the purpose of TV, though, is commercials.
I know, but we've been able to avoid them
Yeah.
pretty well. Okay, so then think of wellness as integration, not perfection. This is something that, when I talk to clients, they are so worried about not doing it right. And even just one small step forward is progress.
So
And-
that's a program, though. You know, the worried about not doing it right. We have gotten so good at pointing out our flaws. We've gotten so good at focusing on what we suck at. We've gotten so good about reminding each other that, you're not perfect or this isn't right or, and again, I think social media amplifies that. TV amplifies that. That's the purpose of TV, is to sell you things that they want you to buy, not things that you need.
Right, that's true.
And
Yeah,
so
for
the
sure.
reality is,
Same with TikTok ads and
all of it, every
yeah.
little bit of it. We've all been able to focus on what we're not good at, which is what keeps us from saying, I want to move forward with my life.
Right.
I want to be happier. I want to be more productive.
Yeah.
I want better relationships. And then you'll watch a show like The Bachelor. And it's like, well, no wonder we all suck at this. This is what we're broadcasting. Why
Right.
would we talk about better relationships when we're actually
Basing
watching
it on
people
this?
pay
Yeah.
to do it wrong?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah. As well, in thinking, we talk a lot about holistic things, in our living well world. And holistic just means whole, right? So looking at our whole life, not
Yes.
bits
Spiritually.
and pieces. Yes.
Right. Spiritually,
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, energetically, structurally, physically, chemically. When you look at what you are as a whole being, you are created whole. And so at the end of the day, if we don't focus on all those things, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And so if it's a spiritual thing, and I would contend that the spiritual spoke is most people's weakest link. From what we see in the practice, I think most people dramatically underestimate their emotional and their spiritual well-being and its impact on their physical health. I firmly believe 80% of what people are dealing with physically is rooted either spiritually or emotionally, or both.
Yeah, I think that's true. So a tip for that is to anchor the day with a wellness bookend. So one morning ritual and one evening self-care habit.
Yes.
To really
Easy.
Yeah.
So easy.
Yeah. Just find something.
A morning
for
ritual
me,
might be prayer.
Prayer journaling for me.
December is nice because we do Luke in the morning, a chapter of Luke. There's 24 chapters. If you start December 1st, you get to go through Christmas Eve and you're learning about the Gospel of Luke. Marvelous way to start the day. 100%.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I think one of the smartest things a person can do is jot a note about something for which they're thankful.
Gratitude. Yeah.
If the mind can't go to bed on 4-alarm fire and thankfulness, it can only go to bed on one. So since you get to pick, I would strongly suggest going to sleep on gratitude. And then your dreams are different. Your rest period is different. Your wake up period is different because the mind says, hey, thanks. If that's how I'm going to bed, I know I can soak this up all night long. If we go to bed on stress, if we go to bed on what didn't go right, if we go to bed on fear, if we go to bed thinking about the future with trepidation, sleep is going to be hard to achieve.
Right. And it really creates such physical distress too, and more than people realize
100%.
that stress does.
Yep.
And also I love the idea of habit stacking. So pair something I should be doing like rebounding or exercise, which is my weakest link for sure, with something that I love, like listening to a podcast. So doing those things together, I'm utilizing time and being efficient, but I'm getting it done.
Yep.
Like telling myself, well, you can only listen to that podcast if you're on that rebounder. That's going to help me to have a nice, what would you call that? A reward circuit.
Yes.
So that's good too.
You're getting two birds with one stone.
Right, exactly.
You're getting two things that are beneficial.
And then seek curiosity over control. So approach the year with a learner's mind. Let go of the need to control outcomes and instead remain curious about what's possible in life, new ways of solving challenges without going back to our default settings. I think that's really important to break those default settings. Because it's really easy. We don't have to think about it. Our default settings are just kind of ingrained in us. And for people that are like us in our 60s, we've been doing it a long time a certain way.
Well, and part of that's old programming.
For sure.
Part of that is moms and dads and preachers and teachers who told us things that may not be truthful. I had a lot of that to overcome.
You did.
Right?
You totally
So
did. You are
my people could find 10 reasons for me to not do things, right? Or what if it goes wrong? What if it goes bad? What if you fall in? Why would you get a pool? What if somebody, whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, bro, what if it doesn't? What if it goes right?
Yeah.
Why would I not do this? What are the possibilities if it's successful? And if I don't try, the answer will always stay the same. No, there's no progress.
Right.
And so you got to overcome some old trash sometimes and say, what am I capable of? And where am I underestimating myself? I'm stronger than I think. I'm faster than I think. I'm more
You're a
durable
problem
than I
solver.
think.
Yep.
I fix things.
You fix things.
At the end of the day, we all got that garbage in our brain that just needs to be like, all right, how about if I put this on the back burner for just a minute and think about what's really possible for the new year?
Exactly.
If money were no object and nobody could tell me no, what would my new year look like? Would I have a new job? Would I get a new career? Would I focus on something new to drive? Would I live in a different neighborhood? If you don't like what you're currently experiencing, change it.
Yeah. So when faced with uncertainty, instead of saying what now, like you were saying, ask what if in a very positive
Yeah.
frame of mind. Yeah.
Instead of saying why not, say what if.
Right. And then just choose something either weekly or monthly that sparks your curiosity, like a new recipe, taking a class that you've always been interested in, or other type of, self-care type of.
Get out of your mold. Get out of the old, if you want something new, you got to do something new. It's really very simple.
Yeah.
Not easy, but simple.
No, simple, right, exactly, and staying with that. So 5 things I'll do differently in 2025 with a fresh approach to living well.
And I'm still working on my 5 things.
I know, and these aren't set in stone. I just, when we knew that we were popping in here tonight, I just wanted to get some things on paper. So prioritize joy-based movement over forced exercise. So finding a way to make movement feel fun, not obligatory. And, movement can be like playing with honey. Playing with her it's still being active.
100%.
And we love chasing each other down the hallway, and thankfully I can still catch her. Create weekly silent sabbaths for digital and emotional rest. So this is kind of like what we were talking about,
Shut it off.
Dedicating one evening or morning each week to unplug and reset spiritually, and just really diving in and not having it anywhere in my vicinity where it would be a distraction. Okay, and number 3, nourish relationships with presence, not perfection. So focusing on showing up authentically, rather than worrying about saying or doing the right thing.
So one of the things I'm super glad you've been doing is reconnecting with your mom and your sister.
I know, it's been precious time together.
That's what, a year?
We've been meeting regularly, like every couple of weeks, every 3 weeks or so, since last July. So July of 2023.
And I know that it's time that you cherish,
No,
and
I
time that
love
you
it
value,
so
and time that you look
much.
forward to.
Yeah.
And I know it's not always easy. I know it can.
Yeah.
You could fill that gap of time with 150 other things, but you prioritize it, and I think they love it. I think you love it.
Not more than
I think-
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so
been
hopefully that's as
amazing.
wonderful for them as it is for you. But
Yeah.
it seems to me like that's been a major league game changer.
It's been a major league game changer. And it was kind of like the foundation for Laureen and I to then fly out and meet Mom and Aunt Sheila for our little weekend in Boston a couple months ago. And that was just fantastic too. But I don't think that if we'd been meeting regularly like that, that we would have felt like it wouldn't have even been a thought.
If you hadn't have been meeting
No,
regularly.
right. Yeah, exactly.
But it was a commitment that you made in your own heart and mind, and so did they.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's worked into something really nice.
loved it.
It's fun for me to watch.
Simplifying my nutrition. It is pretty
I can't imagine that how's that going to get better?
but just maybe eating more fresh local things, and all completely about metabolic health, and then charting it so that I can share what's working for me with clients. So that would work. And then choosing a word or theme that guides my year. Rooted was one of the words that I was thinking about, because I do feel like how important that is for grounding, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, for sure. And just being rooted in God's word.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get distracted. But pruning was another one that I was thinking about, which, still plant-based thoughts, right? But thinking about how God does need to intentionally come in and prune away the things that aren't serving him or the kingdom
The
anymore.
people, places, and things that need to go by the wayside for plants to grow, or for us to grow.
Exactly. And then they flourish.
That's a good word.
When we allow that to happen. And it can be very painful. I think about the plants being pruned. It's like, I wonder if that hurts. But when things are pruned out of our lives, sometimes there is pain involved. But
And there's always a reason.
There's always a reason.
purpose.
Yeah. So this was great, babe.
Want to pick a word?
Yeah. Oh, so this is something that
So every day here in the
team
office,
does.
the team and I pick a word of the day, and it's your word for focus. Ooh, I got a good one. Adventure.
Oh, that is good for you. Mine is synthesis.
Also good for you.
Yeah.
Not synthetic.
Not
synthesis.
Synthesis.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like combining everything together, right? Synthesizing that's also kind of a musical thing in creating. Yeah.
Putting it together.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yep.
Yay.
And if you need an extra earring, apparently.
I know
this
that.
is
I was
also
just
where we
looking
keep
at that.
them.
It's very sparkly.
Yeah.
Did somebody leave it
Marvelous.
up when you were adjusting them?
I don't know.
I love you.
I love you back.
Happy 2025.
It's going to be a good year.
Happy 2025 to you guys.
What should
too.
they do?
Like, subscribe, and follow, and share with your friends and family.
Yeah,
because
tell a buddy, bring a friend.
We'd love to know
Got some
that
fun guests coming in the new year.
we sure do. And let us know what you have in mind for your 2025. We're always curious to hear from people. We, when I get a message, it's like, oh, yay, that sounds amazing. And it prompts a new idea for another episode too, usually.
Perfect.
So, yay. Thanks,
See you next
Graham.
time.
See you later. Bye.